anyway, as I was saying, if I take this triangle here, I go ahead and clone it, I can start making some patterns of some triangles right here. Now, this is a translation, right? I'm just translating to the right, x units. Now, this is not yet really tile-shaped, but what if I started taking some of these and I started reflecting them across this axis, across this axis right here. I start doing that, and I start saying, okay, let's keep cloning these, and let's start making some translations here. These are examples of glide reflections, I guess, because I translated them over first and then I reflected them. What about these other parts, these parts that we need to close up? These are not, I need to find something that would be of the same isometry. So I have to go ahead and start rotating these 180 degrees about this midpoint right here. I start rotating it this way, and I start placing them in. And voila, I am creating, as soon as I move it down, I'm creating a tessellation with triangles. And these triangles are not equilateral. You know, they're not regular in any sort of way. They are so irregular, in fact. And I am just making tiles after tiles, like so. And I could keep doing it if I absolutely knew what I was doing. Apparently, I can't even move this shape. So you can do that with triangles. Quadrilaterals, same thing. Let's say I start doing quadrilateral like so. I have that one there, and I have another part here, another part here, and etc. I can just start doing, well, oh yeah, I can group by dragging. Don't touch it. There we go. I can group, and I can start doing something such as a, come on, man, a flip job. I do believe, oh no, I guess not a flip job. I should rotate it. Start doing a rotation like so. And I start creating things where you can probably start to sense what the patterns are. I'm sorry, the stylus or whatever it is really messing up right now. It's not really moving with me here. There we go. Come on. Okay, and anyway, so I do a flip job up there and a flip job up here, and you might start to see where the patterns start to be made. So every triangle quadrilateral can tessellate. Okay, reflection. All right, these definitions really aren't that fancy, but these are things they're saying. Do tessellations have reflectional symmetry, translational symmetry, rotational symmetry, or glide reflectional symmetry? Here are the definitions. Reflectional symmetry means there's a reflection that maps the tessellation onto itself. In other words, if I have a full tessellation, can I find a reflection somewhere and reflect the entire thing? Same with translation. Can I take the entire tessellation, assume that this was an infinite tessellation, not even just a rug, it maps out the entire world. Can I take the whole thing, translate it some amount, and say, okay, boom, there's a pattern there. With rotation, can I do that? And glide reflection, can I do that on something? So let me give you an example that has all of those. Here's a hexagonal tessellation, and unfortunately I can't really do too much movement with it because I did not create this, at least not in this, not on the smartboard thing. But let's start with reflectional tessellation. Can I create a reflection anywhere on here so that there will be a tessellation, so that I can map this tessellation onto itself? What if I reflect it across this line here? Will this part end up there, this part end up there, etc.? Yes, and this part would end up here. So here's a reflection of this tessellation. In fact, there are a massive number of reflections here I can do. And you can just start counting them off. You can start looking at where they are. There's obviously one that goes down this way as well, assuming that was right down the middle. You can go across here. You can go across anywhere that these hexagons divide right down the middle of wherever they are. So here, again, same thing. I'm creating a massive number of tessellations here. That might be it, actually, if you think about it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that might be it for the reflections. But you can see where they can go across. I can go across there, or I can go across there, or whatever. I can keep reflecting across any of those. But yes, reflectionally so, this thing does tessellate. Translationally speaking, can I translate this so that I create like a section, such as this one? You know, think about the birds example or whatever the heck they were. Can I translate this over? Yeah, it looks like I can translate over from this point all the way across to that point, and you'll see that they'll end up being the same thing. Translate from there to there, I end up getting a tessellation where all of this stuff is moved over this many units and a repeat pattern is made. I could do the same thing from here up to here. Same kind of stuff. In fact, I probably didn't even need to go that far. I probably could have just gone up one. So again, yes, there's translation, tessellation. Rotation's a little difficult to show because I can't actually do a rotation, but there are so many points that I can rotate this about. If I choose to just rotate it about any center point, now I'm not saying how many degrees, but if I rotate it enough, eventually I can get the pattern back. I rotate it about this point, any one of these points I can rotate it about on any hexagon here, and I can create tessellations out of them. If I rotate it about here, it goes all the way upward, etc. So these are all points I can rotate it about. So it has reflection. That looks like retelection. Translation. Rotation. Sorry for the messed up handwriting. Finally, glide reflection. This might be the toughest to see, but remember what glide reflection is here. I can reflect it across an axis of some sort. So let's go ahead and reflect it across here. Now, to do a glide reflection, though, I would have to go ahead and move one of these shapes up. I'd have to glide it up one, this point going up here, and then I can reflect it over, and obviously this point would end up being, or this hexagon would end up being right there. So take this hexagon, move it up one, reflect it over. So it has glide reflection as well. I'll go and mark it GR. Again, this is very difficult to teach in that sense, and you might be scratching your head a little bit, but at least you can see that it has all these. Most of them do. Some of them don't. Okay, creating tessellations on dot paper. Now I'll go and have some fun with this. I'm going to use the infinite cloner tool. So basically I can just drag a bunch of things out of here. Basically all you want to do is just figure out the lengths of each object so you can recreate it and see if you can recreate it so that you are making a tessellation by yourself with these objects. Just make sure you're matching patterns, make sure everything's going in correctly, and boom, I'm creating tessellation by translation. Technically, I could also be rotating here as well. Could I reflect? It looks like I could reflect across that axis right there. No, I don't think I could reflect across that because you have to make sure that everything reflects correctly, and that was an improper move on my end. So again, just make sure that this ends up being created correctly, like so. You can just have fun with it, and boom, I have a tessellation. And I have another one down here. Same thing. I'll do one by translation. I'll do one by translation, then I'll do one by rotation and translation. So there, I'm just creating a bunch of patterns as long as they continue to tessellate and I can repeat them and they can match into holes and fill in gaps. I'm doing okay. So here's another example of one of those tessellations. If I can move it up here. And so on and so forth. Just make sure that they all match in, they all square up, and you're doing okay. So that's one example. Here's another example where I'll take one of these and I will rotate it 180 degrees and I'll place it right in there. I want to go ahead and group these two. If I knew how. Go ahead and group this one and this one. I'll take off infinite cloner for a second. Come on. Click on. There we go. Now I'll turn on infinite cloner here. And here's an example of these two objects now tessellating. If I start sticking them in piece by piece. Okay, so here are some more tessellations. Go ahead and drag it over there. Okay, so that's me rotating about some things and creating this pattern over and over. Okay, designing your own tessellations with translational symmetry. Here's an example of something that I did for you. I take all these